When we're making choices, the more options that we have and the fuzzier the difference is, the harder it is to make that choice. And the more likely we are as decision makers to either opt for what's easiest or just what we're most familiar with seeing.
Hey everybody, we're back with Quickfire Marketing. I'm your host, E.T. Mack. Got a very, very special guest today. Emma Schermer Tamir runs her own agency, and I'll let her actually provide a little information about herself as well, but happy to have you on, Emma.
Sure. So I really got deep into marketing working for a tech startup company. And so that was where I really cut my teeth in the world of content marketing and copywriting back before I started my own agency. And I am excited to be here and talk product launches with you today.
Yeah, super. So Emma, before the pod, we talked about how you live in Las Vegas and things are always launching there every single day. But outside of the blazing heat, what matters the most? Like if we're getting started, there's a million things you need to do. What do I need to wrap my mind around to always stay like true to a North Star?
This is the annoying answer that probably no one wants to hear, but you have to really have a good product and be very clear about who your target customer is. And if you don't have clarity around both of those things, then nothing else that you're going to do matters. But when you do have clarity about those things, then it actually starts to make your decision making so much easier. Because if you know who is going to absolutely love this new launch, then you're going to be able to start to understand where are those people spending their time? Who are the key decision makers within that sphere? All of those different elements will begin to paint a picture of exactly what you need to do, who you need to get in front of, how you need to be getting in front of them, the way that you need to be communicating. And if you skip that step, then that's where it's really easy to fall into this place of being, constantly jumping from one thing to the next without having a clear, solid strategy in place and wasting a lot of time, effort, money, and not really making that launch as effective as it could be.
So we work with a lot of B2B tech companies, early stagers as well. Sometimes they're the only ones that believe it. Like they're disrupting the market. They're the first, to do whatever it is they're going to do. How do you validate it? Because you have to have the biggest sense of belief in yourself, but there's other people out there that might not believe in it as much. So how do you validate it before you launch that product then?
So if you are doing something truly innovative, I would still ask yourself, what is this innovating on? And it may not be as gigantic of a leap into new territory as you may feel that it is. It could be iterating on something that already exists in some other capacity. And so then it's a matter of identifying what that transition might look like. And so if you are offering some new feature that has never been offered before, is that something that you are simply offering because you think it's a good idea? Or have you validated it in some way that this is something that people would need even if they don't know that they need it?
What about launching a new product and there are companies that are maybe in the same space and they don't do what I do, but we all use the same terms.
Mm-hmm.
How do I differentiate there? Like, is that a critical success factor too, to figure out like how to navigate that?
Absolutely. One of the little sayings, and I wish I remembered who to attribute this to, but there's someone very smart that said you don't just have to get customers to choose you have to get them to not choose someone else. And so when we're making choices, the more options that we have and the fuzzier the difference is, the harder it is to make that choice. And the more likely we are as decision makers to either opt for what's easiest or go off of something that may not necessarily be true representation of whether it's best fit. So it could be price, it could be the amount of reviews, or just what we're most familiar with seeing. And so one of the things that you need to do when you're thinking about differentiation is you have to be very clear about the space that you're operating in and what is that competitive landscape and what is it that your competitors are doing well? What are they maybe not doing well? And how can you paint a choice for customers? And so if you're just going to fall into using that same fluffy general language, you're not doing that. You're actually dulling your ability to stand out and you're diluting your message. And as somebody that makes choices about what products to buy for my company, it's one of the things that I actually find most frustrating as a decision maker, where I'm just trying to wrap my mind around what is truly different about these products, and you can't figure it out. And so sometimes then I'm just like, you know what? My current solution is fine. I don't even want to invest in something new because this is just, I'll suffer through the things that I don't like about it because I can't tell the difference between any of these.
Yeah, right. Like I often will look through dozens of reviews. What if it's a brand new product? Oof, it can be a bit of a doozy unless they're like right there guiding me through the whole demo or the experience of how to use it. I think that's been like the number one common theme we've had on all our guests. It's been, don't shy away from just finding your niche right out the gate. Whatever it is, if you just double down in that area, you're going to make so much more growth that in 3 years or later down the road, you can venture to other verticals.
Exactly. And because it's also, if you have a finite budget of what events that you can attend and what you can sponsor and all of those different things, if you're spreading that really thin, then you're not really going to make significant inroads in any particular industry. Where if you decide, okay, we're going into healthcare and specifically maybe even into healthcare administration, then you know exactly what events you need to be at. You know exactly the publications that you need to be in, and you can make that budget also much more effective. And I think it becomes even more imperative as AI content generation is so widely spread, is figuring out how to cut through all of that noise becomes far more complicated. And that's where that clarity in understanding really who you solve and how to speak specifically to them is also so vitally important.
So key takeaways we've gotten so far. Let me know if I missed anything. It's like, have an amazing product. One, have a product you're not that scared to show anybody. Number two, really understand your angle, like strengths and weaknesses of how you can enter the market. And three, know your market. Everyone always asks for a silver bullet. What's a silver bullet we can give them?
Silver bullet.
A shiny tactic, a little shiny tactic, because everyone always wants a little taste of that, right? They want to like, come on, help me, give me a little frosting. Yeah.
So I don't know if this would be silver bullet. I think in my mind, I always resist the hack things. So I'm like, just focus on the basics and the fundamentals. So this is kind of a basic and fundamental, but it's a way of getting to knowing who that market is. And I'm amazed by how many companies don't do this, which is build out a customer avatar and don't just use that as a marketing tool. That should be something that everybody in the organization is familiar with, because it will make decision making so much easier and more unified when you're able to run it through the filter of, is this something that Jason would enjoy? Is this something that Jason cares about? Is this a joke that Jason would get? Or is this really something that he couldn't care less about?